Nelson Mandela once said, "Overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity, it is the protection of a fundamental human right, the right to dignity and a decent life." A very warm welcome to one and all present. Today we are going to present on the topic Poverty Debate and Inequality, Policy and Implications. First of all, I want to briefly talk about poverty in India. Every 1 out of 5 persons in India is poor. There are regional disparities as well. Uttar Pradesh has the highest number of poor, about 60 million, followed by Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Jharkhand, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh respectively. These 7 low-income states house 62% of India's poor. Moreover, 80% of India's poor live in rural areas. Poverty is the highest among scheduled tribes, followed by scheduled caste and other backward classes. For the rural poor, casual labor is the main source of income. For the urban poor, self-employment and casual labor are the main sources of income. The poor have lower access to basic services. Only 21% have access to sanitation, 61% to electricity and 6% to tap water. The problem is not only poverty but also inequality in income distribution. According to the latest survey by Oxfam, India's top 1% of the population now holds 73% of the wealth, while 67 crore citizens comprising the country's poorest half saw their wealth rise by just 1%. In the period between 2006 and 2015, ordinary workers saw their incomes rise by an average of just 2% a year, while billionaire wealth rose almost 6 times faster. Even in the last year, one billionaire was created every 2 days. Now the question arises, is the government doing enough to eradicate poverty? Well, the government has launched some poverty alleviation programs. These can be mainly grouped into wage employment, self-employment, food security, social security, and urban poverty alleviation programs. Most of these programs are designed to target rural poverty as prevalence of poverty is high in rural areas, and moreover there are various geographic and infrastructure limitations. Now we will discuss these schemes one by one.
I'm going to discuss about the poverty alleviation programs in India. The first one is Jawahar Gram Samriddhi Yojana. Jawahar Gram Samriddhi Yojana is the restructured, streamlined and comprehensive version of the Jawahar Rozgar Yojana. It was started on 1st April 1999. The main aim of this program was development of rural areas. Infrastructure like roads to connect the village to different areas, which made the village more accessible, and also other social, educational and infrastructure like hospitals. Its secondary objective was to give out sustained wage employment. This was only given to below poverty line families, and the fund was to be spent for individual beneficiary schemes for SCs and STs, and 3% for the establishment of barrier free infrastructure for the disabled people. The village panchayats were one of the main governing body of this program. Rupees 1841.80 crore were used, and they had a target of 8.57 lakh works. 5.07 lakh works were completed during 1999 to 2000. Now I'm going to discuss about the National Old Age Pension Scheme. The National Old Age Pension Scheme came into effect on 15th August 1995. The scheme provides pension to old people who were above the age of 65, who could not find themselves and did not have any means of subsistence. This pension that was given rupees 200 a month. This pension is given by the central government. The job of implementation of the scheme in states and union territories is given to panchayats and municipalities. The state's contribution may vary depending on the state. The amount of old age pension is rupees 200 per month for the age group of 60 years to 79 years and rupees 500 per month for the age group of 80 years and above. Now I'm going to discuss about the next scheme, that is the National Family Benefit Scheme. This scheme was started in August 1995. This scheme provides a sum of rupees 20,000 to a person of a family who becomes the head of the family after the death of its primary breadwinner. The breadwinner is defined as the person who is above 18 who earns the most for the family and on whose earnings the family survives. This scheme is sponsored by the state government of India. It was transferred to the state sector scheme after the period 2002 to 2003. It is under the Community and Rural Department. The next scheme is National Maternity Benefit Scheme. The National Maternity Benefit Scheme provides a sum of rupees 6,000 to a pregnant mother in 3 installments. The women have to be older than 19 years of age. It is given normally 12 to 8 weeks before the birth, and in case of the death of the child, the women can still avail it. It is implemented by states and union territories with the help of panchayats and municipalities. During 1999 to 2000, the total allocation of funds for this scheme was rupees 767.05 crores and the amount used was rupees 4,444.13 crore. It is for families below the poverty line. The scheme was updated in 2005 to 6 into Janani Suraksha Yojana with rupees 1400 for every institutional birth. The next scheme is Annapurna Scheme. The Annapurna Scheme was started by the government in 1999 to 2000 to provide food to senior citizens who cannot take care of themselves and are not under the National Old Age Pension Scheme and who have no one to take care of them in their village. This scheme would provide 10 kg of free food grains a month for the eligible senior citizens. The allocation for the scheme in 2000 to 2001 was rupees 100 crore. They mostly target groups of poorest of the poor and indigent senior citizens. The next is Integrated Rural Development Program. Integrated Rural Development Program was launched by the Government of India during 1978 and was implemented during 1980. The objective of the Integrated Rural Development Program is to enhance the state of living and to empower the poor, providing productive assets and inputs to its target groups. The program's objectives are met by providing productive assets. The assets, which could be in the primary, secondary, or tertiary sector, are provided as financial assistance to these families in the form of government subsidies as well as loans or credit from financial institutions. Now I'm going to talk about the beneficiaries of IRDP and about the funding of IRDP. The beneficiaries of IRDP are rural artisans, marginal farmers, laborers, SCs and STs. First, I'm going to discuss about the rural artisans, which are the one of the beneficiaries of IRDP. Rural artisans are the skilled craft workers who makes or create things by hand, for example furniture, clothing, jewelry, etc. The next is marginal farmers. A farmer cultivating agricultural land up to 1 hectare are known as marginal farmers. The small farmers means the farmers cultivating agricultural land of more than 1 hectare. Next we have laborer, a person doing unskilled manual work for wages whose job involves hard physical work. Last is SCs and STs. Scheduled castes are the untouchable castes of India. Scheduled tribes are the tribals of India who live in forests. They are not part of any organized religions. Now talking about the funding of the IRDP. IRDP is centrally sponsored scheme funded on a 50:50 basis by central and state government of India. The central funds are allocated to states on the basis of proportion of rural poor in a state to the total rural poor in the country. The rest of the topic will be discussed by Sukh Amrit. Thank you.
The next scheme is Pradhan Mantri Gramin Awas Yojana. It aimed at creating housing for everyone. Under this, loans were provided to people at subsidized rate to make houses. It was started in 1999 to 2000. During 2000 to 2001, a central outlay of rupees 1710 crore was provided for this scheme. The last but one of the most important scheme is National Rural Employment Guarantee Act (NREGA). It came into force in 2006 and was further modified as Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act (MNREGA) on October 2, 2009. This scheme granted 100 days, now 150 days of paid work to people in rural areas. These poverty alleviation programs are not completely success. Although the proportion of our population living in poverty has declined over time. However, the poverty line was set low and the decline was not as rapid as expected. The reason are no systematic attempt to identify poor people and determine their needs. There is no commitment by the government to support an individual or a household for getting minimum level of subsistence. For example, Manrega does not provide 100 days of work in many states. There are no adequate means of livelihood for working poor, casual agriculture labor. Moreover, these programs do not reach everybody they are meant for. Thank you.